Bring in Tess del Rosario. She's a senior associate at the Asia Research Institute in Singapore. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Why has Thaksin Shinawatra returned to Thailand now, knowing that he is facing jail time, that he's going to prison? What's the significance behind the timing of all of this?
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Um, it's a risk, I think, that Thaksin Shinawatra is taking by returning after 15 years in exile. And I think that he's made a very calculated risk that the odds are in his favor. He's 74 years old, and he has spent a good portion of his life in exile. As someone said earlier, in Dubai, he's just another billionaire. But in Thailand, he is a political force. And as we saw this morning, the reception at the airport was nothing short of spectacular, which means that Thaksin is betting, and quite rightly, that his brand in Thai politics remains. And if Thai wins the prime minister position, then it will be a testimonial to the enduring legacy of the Thaksin brand. So in that respect, I think Thaksin made a very positive, calculated risk that his return to Thailand can only be good for his political party.
Well, how much of an influence does he and his family still have on Thai politics, especially right now when the country does seem to be in limbo because of the political situation?
Quite, quite a lot of influence, I will say. As I said, they have produced what? Two prime ministers, he and his sister. Another member of the family was also a prime minister shortly after the coup of 2006. And then now, his daughter, of course, she's not probably going to be the elected prime minister, but a close associate of theirs. So, yes, Thaksin remains a force, and that cannot be discounted.
So this Thai party has formed this coalition. Two of the people in the coalition, or parties rather, are allied with the military. Does this speak to the difficulty rather Thai is having in having to align with parties that are linked to those responsible for the party's fall from power in the first place?
Well, you can read this move as cynical politics. To be able to get into power and to secure those votes, then the coalition had to include these two military-backed parties. That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is that you can thwart this transition once again if you play hardball. And it is not in the interest of either the military parties or of Putai. It is in everybody's interest to get a government that is up and running. It's been 3 months. Secondly, people are used to compromises around here. And this is one of those compromises that I think may be difficult to understand, even hard to swallow. But remember, in any political process, the reality of compromise is something that has to always has to be taken into account. If you don't do that, which the Move Forward Party I think is learning, then you are marginalized, you're sidelined, and possibly even removed from politics altogether. So it's a bitter pill that you have to swallow. And I think the calculation has been that let's get into a coalition with people who overthrew us 15 years ago, but at least we are in the political process. We are in the political game.
Still going to be very interesting to see what happens in the coming hours in Parliament. Thank you so much for speaking to us and your analysis. Tess del Rosario live there from Bangkok.